And there she is. How are you doing? Hope you're all good. It's time for the podcast. Guys, hello. Hi. So much. The main topic of today is Xbox's horribly ugly handheld.
Is it their fault though?
Yeah, they're the boss.
I guess. Yeah.
But
well, they're doing a weird approach to, not really weird, but like they're not in complete control, I would say. I think that's the best.
They're
way
outsourcing, but they have the final say.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
It's a divisive look. Some people like it, but the people who like it are the ergonomic authority.
Oh, those people.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd rather have something that looks cool, even if it like stabs my hands.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do looks over ergonomics at my advanced stage. Can't do that.
I need looks and if it's convenient,
right,
then I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, guys, welcome to WULFF DEN Podcast.
Yes.
We're talking about that.
Yes.
Xbox handheld, as well as some other stuff.
Some Switch stuff, some more GTA 6 stuff following up from last week. Palworld news. That'd be interesting. And much, much more. But first.
That doesn't work. What is this, a game fact?
Game fact.
Oh.
Game fact. Did you know this week is a double anniversary?
No.
So 20 years ago today was the debut of a very specific video game meme. Do you want to guess the meme?
20 years ago?
20 years ago.
My God, GameCube era?
No, yeah, GameCube era, but not GameCube game.
Okay. Is it? Wow.
No.
Damn. What is it then?
Leroy Jenkins. 20 years ago today, the World of Warcraft meme Leroy Jenkins made its debut on the world. Pre-YouTube video, I must say.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
That was pre-YouTube.
It debuted.
It made it to YouTube eventually.
Warcraft Movies, a website dedicated to World of Warcraft machinima.
Oh, okay.
That's where it's made its debut. The second 20th anniversary that happened this week actually happened 2 days ago on May 11th.
Was this another meme?
No. This was the 20th anniversary of the Xbox 360 reveal. Now you may be wondering, why is the reveal of a console a big deal? Well, because this reveal got its very own MTV special.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that at all?
No.
I remember it. I remember watching it live as it happened 20 years ago on MTV. See, even 20 years ago, MTV didn't play music. It was, I think it was an hour-long special hosted by Elijah Wood with 2 musical performances by The Killers. It's called... what's it called? MTV presents the Xbox 360 reveal.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just found it on YouTube. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that.
All right, this is going to be a long game fact.
I found it on YouTube, and it starts with an iPod commercial.
Yep.
But there he is.
Baby.
There's Elijah Wood.
There's Elijah Wood. I remember this vividly. Like, he points, and then I don't know who he is. A woman's going to walk on stage with the Xbox 360 in like a shoulder bag and just place it on the pedestal and turn it on.
Well, here's the most replayed, and I think that
yep, there it is.
There it is. There's the woman walking on stage. People are like tapping her on the shoulder.
Yeah, it's not a good show. It's very 2005 cringe.
Whoa!
There it is.
There it is.
Wait. She's going to plug it in, and she's going to press the button. Oh, and it doesn't red ring.
That has to have been pre-recorded.
Yeah. There was a part in this special that I vividly remember. They sent a fan to Rare in Europe to interview them for Perfect Dark Zero.
Okay.
Because that was going to be a big deal at the time. And then the fan starts asking, like, not stupid questions. Like, is there online multiplayer? How many people in the multiplayer? What kind of, scenarios are there? How long is the single player? Blah, blah, blah. The way they cut it, like they cut it fast to just the questions, making him sound like he's a nerd. And then they cut to the developers going, and then it goes, is the game going to be fun? Yeah, it is. So I just remember that, like, there wasn't a lot of like video game specific stuff on like mainstream TV at the time. And here it was like, okay, finally a video game thing on mainstream television, and they treat it with the most 2005 like cringe gamer nonsense
because they didn't know how to make it appealing to mainstream.
Yeah.
And they didn't realize that you could just show it,
yeah,
and it would be fine.
Yeah.
You know, just act normal, and it'll be fine.
So, however bad you think gaming representation is in mainstream media is now, it was worse back then.
Yes.
So just remember that. But there you go. Those were your
Yeah.
Hey.
I bought a USB thing. So
okay, there you go. I have buttons now.
Anyway, before we get into the rest, what is the rest of the news? Oh, you already said it already.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, got a lot of people to thank. George McFarlane, thanks for the 42 months. Oh my God, Bob and Will, is that really you? It's been so long, and my sub streak is still here. Congratulations. Just a pile of nope. Thanks for the 35 months. Hi, Wolf Bros. Hello. Dante Mira, thanks for the 69 months. Happy 69 months of Bob. Also, he's right over there.
Yeah.
Seesaw, thanks for the 55 months. Garrison, thanks for the 18 months. Woo, free Bezos bucks. Victorious, thanks for the Prime. John got the juice, thanks for the 4 months. Hey, Bob and Will, hello.
Hey.
We also got a guy over on YouTube, Bano Huts. Thanks for being the dude. I guess I'll mention I reorganized our Discord a little bit.
Okay.
I just made the rules. I just made things a little more clear in the Discord. But if you're not aware, which you probably aren't because I never talk about the Discord, if you're a member on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch, that means you give us money in some way. There is a supporter-only Discord channel. So you can talk in there, and you can @ me if you really want to. Also, you can @ him, but he probably won't answer.
Probably not.
Edward Bova messaged me like 18 times in one day. That prompted me to change all of the rules. But I told him @ me once a day.
Yeah.
And @ you as well, because they're all news articles.
Okay.
So, anyway. Thank you, Anonymous, for gifting us up to Sarity. Is that Sarity just gifting himself a sub? Anyway, let's just get right into it, shall we?
All right.
Oh, do you have an article here about SteamOS?
No, but I can find one.
I have one. Okay. I have one.
All right, let's get into it with the Microsoft and Asus Xbox handheld leaking early. Oh boy, someone's getting fired. The first photos of the Asus ROG Ally 2 have surfaced online thanks to regulatory listings, but with a twist, there are 2 versions of the gaming handheld, one featuring a dedicated Xbox button. The Xbox version is a black version of the otherwise almost identical white ROG Ally 2 with a small button in the top left corner being engraved with the Xbox logo. That button is blacked out on the regular ROG Ally, the one in white, though will likely be replaced or removed in its production version. 91 Mobiles found listings for the ROG Ally 2 at the Indonesian certificate, and Video Cards linked those to an FCC listing for the Wi-Fi module listed in the 2 devices, which includes photos of the hardware. That listing also reveals some limited specs, which include a 7-inch 120Hz LCD display, about the same as the first generation, an 8-core 36-watt AMD Ryzen Z2 Extreme CPU included in the Xbox edition, and a less powerful 4-core 20-watt chip in the white regular version.
Let me translate a little bit.
Okay.
Well, actually, you're almost done.
The design has also been altered with more molded controller grips on each edge rather than the blocky, slopped design of the original ROG Ally. That leaves the hardware as a whole looking thicker than before, but perhaps it'll be more comfortable to hold.
Let's try to condense this for the TikTok version.
Okay.
Hey, Xbox has a new handheld coming out,
Whoa!
and it looks ugly as sin. Look at this thing. Wow.
Whoa.
I can't believe this is the look that they ended up with. This is just a really bad picture. It's got fingerprints all over
dusty, it's dirty.
Yeah. It also, I mean, I hate the shape of it.
I mean, I don't mind the fact that it has controller grips on it. That's one of the things I like about the Steam Deck.
I do
it's
a
kind
little
of
bit.
grippy, you know?
No, it's got PlayStation Portal like grips. I don't mind the Steam Deck bulging out the back,
Yeah.
but bulging out the sides, I got a little problem with, because that's just a waste of space. I'd
Yeah.
rather it be more condensed so that I can put it in a bag rather than have grips that don't have any. What is going to be in there? A rumble? Like, there's not going to be a chip in there.
I don't know, man. I didn't make it. That's not listed in the specs.
So as for specs, it seems like there's going to be an expensive version and not so expensive version. Some of the rumors are saying that the black version is the Xbox version.
That's what the article says, yeah.
Isn't. I have reason to believe they're both going to be Xbox versions.
Okay.
Because I talked to some people over the weekend and they convinced me that they're both going to be Xbox versions.
Okay.
It's going to have the same 7-inch 120Hz LCD screen that all of the Asus handhelds have currently.
Yes.
So it's the exact same screen. Some people are going to be disappointed about that. I don't care. It's a nice screen. This is the first handheld to have Ryzen Z2 Extreme, except I think the Lenovo Legion Go 2 is also going to have a Z2 Extreme.
Yeah.
However, the cheaper one is going to have, it says, a less powerful 4-core 20-watt chip. According to the Fox, if you watch his video, he basically says this is a souped-up version of the Steam Deck chip.
Yes.
It also has the same Steam Deck Wi-Fi chip. It's the same Wi-Fi chip as the Steam Deck, which sounds like it would work better with Linux, because it already has like the firmware for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's strange and confusing to me.
Yes.
Because if these are both Xbox handhelds, why would one of them be have more similar hardware to a Steam Deck?
Well, it sounds like they're releasing not just an Xbox version, but a regular vanilla ROG Ally, one that isn't Xbox branded specifically.
So that's what I thought, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like they're it seems like we're going to get a Series X and a Series S version, an expensive and a cheap version.
The Verge is making it sound like there's going to be a regular ROG Ally 2 and an Xbox version of ROG Ally 2.
I don't think they are right.
Right, because your people, these nebulous people that we don't know about, are saying that.
Yes. So the reason why they are saying one of them is an Xbox handheld is because you can see the Xbox button on the black one and you can't see it on the white one.
Right.
However, I think the lighting is just worse on the white one. I think it's still there. You just can't see it.
I mean, it's very likely that obviously they're going to do an ROG Ally 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's obvious. And it would make all the sense in the world, save a little money, use the same shell, and just replace the Xbox button with like an Armory Crate button or something like that. I can very easily see a world where those two exist hand in hand, and that's how they sell the ROG Ally 2, the Xbox version and the regular version.
Right. I just don't think there's a reason. The one reason I could see them making it more closely similar to a Steam Deck is to put SteamOS on it.
Right.
SteamOS currently, I think Lenovo has the exclusive rights to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Asus is even allowed to do that, or if maybe the timed exclusivity will run out by then, or maybe Asus already had this in the bag and they were expecting to make a SteamOS version, and then they got the deal with Microsoft, and they're like, well, we can just make it a Microsoft handheld then. So that's the case. Or maybe they're expecting people to want to put SteamOS on it. Maybe they saw a WULFF Den video where he put SteamOS on the Ally X and saw how cool that was, and was like, well, here's just an easier way to do it on this cheaper one. Because the original ROG Ally had an expensive version and a cheap version.
Mm-hmm.
The cheap version was ass and nobody wanted it. But if you could easily put SteamOS on the cheap version, maybe that'll make it more appealing to people.
Yeah. And with regards to the Xbox version of this, as far as we know, it's just going to be a Windows version with like an Xbox skin and stuff. And I don't necessarily think that's what people want. They want a literal portable Xbox, something running Xbox OS.
I want a highly curated Windows.
Right.
That looks like an Xbox, you know? And I think that they could do that. There's plenty of launchers that fix Windows.
But I think if you're branding it Xbox specifically, there's an expectation that like it's going to be a portable Xbox, meaning that anything you bought digitally on your home Xbox including original Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One games, will be playable on this portable Xbox.
I don't see why they wouldn't. The way that the Steam Deck works now, it's just Linux,
right?
But it's got a really nice launcher on it. And that's it.
Right.
And it's got your Windows games on there, you know? So there's no reason why you can't have all of your Xbox purchases in a Windows environment that just has a nice launcher.
Well, that will require them coming up with an emulator for original Xbox and 360 games to play on a handheld. So on a Windows specifically.
I'd imagine whatever they have would be what is working on the Xbox Series already. So like not every Xbox 360 game can be played on an Xbox Series. So I'd imagine that the ones that can would probably work on something like that. I don't see why they wouldn't do that.
But then you look at the modern games, like a game like Indiana Jones, for example, the Xbox version and the Windows version, they're not necessarily the same thing. One was designed for a closed environment, one was designed for Windows, a more open environment.
You're gonna get the Windows version.
Yeah.
for a first party Xbox game like that, you're if they have both versions, you're getting the Windows.
But what about now? We're gonna keep going down the rabbit hole. A game like Halo 5 Guardians, which I don't think has a Windows version, that came out years ago on the Xbox One. Again, my expectation is this is an Xbox branded device. I should be able to play my Xbox games on it. How do I play Halo 5 Guardians?
So the way it should work is it just has some sort of translation layer, like Proton, that will allow you to play games like you would on a Series console. However, I think this is just a PC, and it's going to work like a PC.
Right.
And right now, my dream is to have a nice launcher on top of it. Maybe they have a translation layer that'll make things run like it does on the Series. That's my dream. But Xbox updated the Xbox app again.
Yes.
On Windows, and it seems like they're just gonna have the Xbox app launch when this thing turns on.
Right.
And I do not think that is good enough at all. It's gotta be like how the Steam Deck is. Like you turn it on and it opens in a completely different environment than the desktop. That's how it has to be. And I'm not confident they're gonna do that. I think this thing's still a ways out. I don't think it says in the article.
Yeah, it doesn't have a release date. I don't think they even certification underway. It's likely the release is around the corner. Asus often launches hardware at Computex, which begins on May 20th, just one day after Microsoft's old build conference begins on May 19th.
Okay. That's
soonish.
No way. There is no way on God's green earth this thing is launching May 20th.
Yeah.
This thing will be maybe announced.
Yeah.
It's not launching. It's not going to launch till like June or July.
Yeah.
The Asus handhelds are usually like June, July, August when they come out. So we got some time till we see this. I'm excited. Again, if I had to guess, I would say they're both Xbox handhelds.
Yeah.
I would say the cheaper one is they're probably gonna market it as something you could dual boot with Linux, or SteamOS.
I'm gonna go on the path of it's definitely gonna be a regular ROG Ally 2 and then an Xbox branded one. The Xbox branded one will be more expensive because of the Xbox license, and that will be the one that's more powerful.
Well, I'll tell you later, and why I know, and maybe you'll be convinced. I'm just really curious why the cheaper one is so closely similar to the to the Steam Deck. That is the one caveat that I have that kind of baffles me a little bit.
I mean, the Steam Deck does get a lot of performance out of quote unquote lesser powerful hardware, but that's because they have an OS that can be maximized.
Yeah, and I think that would be really cool. I think that's a cool idea if they put SteamOS on it, but I don't see that happening because Lenovo has the license for it right now, and that's their device isn't even out yet. SteamOS also isn't public yet.
Yeah,
and they have a deal with Microsoft, so having a going completely around them and making a SteamOS version, that doesn't sound right.
Right.
It could be maybe Microsoft. Imagine, this is a completely wild idea, but imagine if Microsoft saw what Valve was doing and is just like, oh, the Proton translation layer is pretty good for Windows games. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
And imagine they just make a fucking Linux handheld that is a Microsoft handheld that runs on Linux. That would be insane.
Yeah.
Because it's Microsoft.
I
There's
mean,
no reason for them to do
Microsoft's browser runs on Chrome. So
That's true. That's true.
We are seeing them open up a little bit more.
That's true. Solidus says Z2 and 64 gigabyte RAM would future-proof it for a few nanoseconds. So I heard that the expensive one was going to have 64 gigabytes of RAM, but then all of the reporting I saw said 32.
Okay.
So, and the cheaper one had 16. So I don't know where that's coming from. The 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'm also not sure how much that would even improve anything.
Right.
Having that much RAM. I did purchase a Aya Neo that has 16 gigabytes of RAM because I was like, whoa, that's a lot of RAM.
Yeah.
Let's see how that works. But I'm not confident that.
Well, an Xbox system has 16 gigs of RAM, like total.
Really?
Yeah. Same thing with the PS5.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No.
PS5?
16?
16.
16. Oh, okay.
What'd you think I said?
64.
No.
the rumor is that the expensive one is 64.
Okay.
But some other rumors said 32. Yeah, the consoles have 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's as much as the cheaper handheld.
Got it.
Anyway, I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be really cool. I really think it's the ugliest handheld of all time. Second only to the PlayStation 4. Actually, it might be uglier than the PlayStation 4.
I don't think it's that bad. I think, you got to look past it. I think the grips, you'll come to appreciate the grips for playing.
It's just I'd much rather it be able to fit in a bag better.
It'll fit in a bag. Like they'll make cases and stuff for
then
it.
I gotta get a case for. I mean, I'm gonna get sent 100 cases.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want to complain too much, but still, I got. That's the thing is I got 100 cases. Just fit in the cases I have already. We don't need a million cases.
Most cases you get nowadays are cross compatible.
They're not gonna work with this because this is gonna be so wildly different. I have every PC handheld case I have is a generic because they're all the same.
Yeah.
This is gonna be so.
I don't think it's gonna be that different.
Look at how fat that thing
doesn't
is.
Look.
How much it sticks out.
It doesn't look that much different.
Anyway, I like my Ally X, so I think I'll like this one too.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of the grips. Anyway, I guess. Well, no idea what the price is going to be.
No idea what the price is.
It's cheaper than an Ally X is
mm-hmm.
because it'll be subsidized by Microsoft. But who knows? It may or may not be.
I feel like isn't the Lenovo Steam version more expensive? Or did I make that up?
It was supposed to be less, and then things went fucking nuts.
Yeah.
They had a cheap version originally.
Yeah.
And then now they have one with a nicer processor. So it's not so much that Linux is more money, it's that
the Steam licenses.
No, it's not the Steam license at all. It's the hardware that's in it.
Okay.
There was a Windows and a Linux version of the Lenovo Legion Go S that had the exact same hardware in it.
Okay.
And the Windows one was $100 more.
Got it.
Because the Windows license is really expensive.
Right.
But now all of a sudden there's a million different configurations.
Yeah.
And the Linux version ended up skyrocketing in price because there's a Z1 Extreme version.
Right. This was in January. The Windows version will ship at $730 US. The Steam version is going to be $500 when that ships.
And that had half the RAM, I think.
Yes. And then $600 for the Windows version with half the RAM.
And then they announced a Steam version that has a Z1 Extreme.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one that I ended up getting.
Yeah.
And I just got charged for it this morning. So. But it says it's not shipping till the 20th or something.
Okay.
Anyway, speaking of Lenovo,
Oh boy.
Here's some more news on the PC handheld front. This is from Steamworks, their Twitter account that I don't follow, but now I do. Hello, with the Legion Go S powered by SteamOS shipping soon, we are expanding Deck Verified and introducing SteamOS compatibility ratings. These new ratings will roll out over the next few weeks. Learn more here. We click here and then we see what this means. And there's the picture right there. So, where you would normally see SteamOS compatibility on your Steam Deck or on the Steam store page, you will now see two tabs: Steam Deck Verified and SteamOS Verified.
Yes.
So it seems like Valve is putting more stock into SteamOS and getting more eyeballs on SteamOS,
right?
And we might be seeing that roll out on a lot more devices.
Yes. So that's good.
The way it says here, SteamOS compatibility. Our testing indicates that Portal 2 is compatible with devices running SteamOS based on Steam Deck compatibility results. Your experience in terms of performance and input vary depending on your hardware. And then it says the reasons, just like it does on a Steam.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. It just says general SteamOS. I wonder if there's going to be like extra bullet points or caveats for like different systems running SteamOS.
So it seems like it says here, it
just says
successfully
SteamOS.
runs on SteamOS. Then it says this game's first time setup requires an active internet connection. This game's launcher/setup tool may require touchscreen or mouse input. I think that in my mind, this SteamOS compatibility rating just means like it will work on Linux and you don't need a keyboard and mouse or something. Right. And small text will be fine. Like stuff like that. If it's gonna be like your frame rate might be shitty, like I don't know if that's gonna show up in the SteamOS compatibility, because you can have SteamOS on a really shitty device.
Yeah.
It also says here, based on Steam Deck compatibility results. So this SteamOS compatibility might just be an add-on to Steam Deck compatibility.
But that's the thing. Like, so if in the future SteamOS becomes available to anyone, and I put it on a machine that is technically lower spec than a Steam Deck, yes, theoretically a game like Elden Ring could run on the Steam Deck, but it may not run on my lower powered machine running the same, game.
Yeah, that's where things are going to get confusing. I think that there should be like a little caveat on the SteamOS compatibility. Like this game is likely to work on SteamOS, or this game doesn't have any notable like issues with SteamOS other than compatible hardware.
Yeah.
Or verified to work on SteamOS barring compatible hardware or something like that. Lord Jitterjagger says, isn't SteamOS free? I believe Valve is not charging a thing for that. It is, however, you cannot sell your device with SteamOS at this time unless you're Lenovo.
Yes.
Some games aren't deck verified due to graphics, but would still work on SteamOS. Yes, and I don't know how that would show up or work, because this says based on Steam Deck compatibility results. Right. So, customers running SteamOS on non-Steam Deck devices will see these new ratings show up in the store and in the Steam client. Ooh, looks something like this. What hardware does SteamOS compatibility apply to? Do I need to do anything as a developer? Where will people see this? When will the results show up for customers? Can my SteamOS compatibility test results be worse than Deck Verified? No, SteamOS compatibility results will all be the same or higher than Steam Deck Verified results.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So
because like you said, what if the device is worse than a Steam Deck?
Yeah. Unless SteamOS can't work on anything worse than a Steam Deck, but I don't see how they can police that.
Yeah, and that would be bad. I want, in my dream world, there are little tiny Game Boy sized things that, can play weaker games. Colors on Twitch, thanks for the Prime subscription. So yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work. We're supposed to be seeing SteamOS launch alongside the Lenovo Legion Go S.
Yeah.
So that means that you'll be able to put SteamOS on your Ally X or your PC if you really want to. You can make a little tiny PC that has like one for your living room.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know how it's gonna work. I'm excited to see it. I mean, Valve has been saying they're gonna let people use SteamOS for a long time, but it's been really complicated.
They've been dragging their feet. Yeah.
They've been dragging their feet, and it's been really complicated how the like licensing works and stuff.
Yeah.
So no one has actually been able to use legit SteamOS. We've been using Bazite and Hollow OS or whatever.
Yeah.
These like forks of SteamOS, but they're not official SteamOS. So this would be the first time that Valve officially has their own OS that you can put on your own devices.
Right.
Well, it's not the first. They've had other stuff, but like this is the Steam Deck OS that you can now put on your other device. So still no word on when we're going to see this, but I'd imagine it will be pretty much right when the Lenovo Legion Go S comes out, which is any minute now.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's supposed to come out in like a week, but I don't know. I don't know how that shit works. Lenovo just kind of does whatever they want.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sonic's LM, thanks for the €2. Euros? How long before a Switch 2 Lite will be viable? 2 years?
Yeah, that's the way Nintendo's usually been doing it. Like every 2 years you get another version of it.
Yeah, we don't need it. The first year they're not gonna do shit. 2 years maybe even 3.
Yeah.
Anyway,
or earlier was Joey with the $5 on YouTube. Bob, thoughts about pre-ordering Hell Is Us 5 months ahead of time? Hashtag Adam Jensen.
Hell is that's that one that looks like Death Stranding.
Yes. And hashtag Adam Jensen because the product lead on that is I think the director of Deus Ex.
Oh.
So
okay.
It's the same thoughts on pre-ordering anything. You don't have to.
I don't think you should pre-order video games.
Yeah.
Unless there's like going to be a scarcity thing, but there won't be for digital purchase.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any reason to pre-order anything ever.
Yeah. There is absolutely no reason to pre-order like a video game. Ever.
If it's hardware, maybe pre-order it because then they know how many they need.
Yeah.
But like for a game, there's absolutely no reason.
There's never a need.
I think it's.
I mean, I get that you're excited and you want to play it like day one and stuff, but like, wake up early and press the buy button.
It could be argued that it's harmful to pre-order because then these companies get your money without shipping a product.
Yeah,
and they have no incentive.
Also, like you're taking a gamble at this point.
Yeah.
Like you're shelling money before people have time to like play it and review it and like warn you if the game is bad or not.
Yeah.
So.
And they could do that thing where they launch the game early only for people who pay for like the premium version or pre-order or whatever. So generally, I think pre-orders are stupid. Anyway, wish list the game. That's actually helpful. To for some reason, that's helpful to developers. And it's free, so who cares? Anyway, it's time for the backlog. Backlog. Apparently that's been delayed for like weeks.
Yeah, I've noticed it in the.
I gotta. Hey, what was backlog?
Hey, backlog time. Backlog is part of WULFF Den Podcast. We go through our backlog and backlog. Any game we've ever bought, we put into a little Excel spreadsheet. We're talking about 40 friggin' years of video games. 982 as it currently stands. More on the way, obviously. But today we're gonna pick one at random, talk about it, regardless of whether or not we played it.
I'm not having a goof.
Wow, 666.
666. Damn, I hope it's Doom.
It is.
It's gonna be Animal Crossing.
We gotta re-roll. It's appropriate. It's the Resident Evil remake.
Did we talk about it?
We talked about it already.
Oh, okay. All right, that's kind of appropriate. Oh, I guess we'll re-roll. Okay.
Yeah.
512.
512. That is. Oh boy.
You seem sad.
We're about to lose a lot of gamer cred right now, Bob.
Uh-oh.
It's Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 1.
Oh, no. I understand why you're upset about this. I did play this.
I played like maybe 20 minutes of it like a couple of years ago.
We played this when we got the PlayStation Classic, right? That's when I played it.
No, it's not when I played it.
Actually, I might not have even played it. I might have watched you play it on the PlayStation Classic.
Was it the PlayStation Classic? Because we have the disc for it.
I think I got the disc.
Did you get the PlayStation Classic?
I think we borrowed it for a video. Didn't I make a video on it?
I don't know. I do not remember ever like seeing a PlayStation.
You know
Classic.
what I think it was? I don't even think I made a video on the PlayStation Classic. I think we got the either FrameMeister or RetroTink, and I got a PlayStation Classic and ran it through that or something. And I remember you playing this.
Yes,
but on the PlayStation Classic.
What was the PlayStation Classic? Or was the PlayStation 2? Because again, we own the physical version of Final Fantasy VII for some reason.
It could be the PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm remembering the Classic, but it could be the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Too. But I think I got the physical version because I knew this game was worth a lot of money, even though it was the Greatest Hits edition, which is not worth a lot of money. And I think I got it from GameStop because we didn't sell PlayStation 1 games at the time, but we had Final Fantasy VII for some reason, so I just stole it from GameStop.
Yeah.
So that's why we have this game. So once GameStop stops selling a console, they penny out the games, which means you break them and throw them in the dumpster. So why would I break and throw out this game?
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal it.
Right.
So that's why we have Final Fantasy VII. This is not in our wheelhouse at all.
No,
I do not like JRPGs,
specifically turn-based JRPGs.
Yeah. I'd imagine if I played this when it came out, I would probably have some significance to it. But we weren't PlayStation people.
No, we were N64 kids.
Yeah.
I remember the commercials for this. They really made it seem like this was a big and epic thing. And that, the fact that it was only on PlayStation is added to the allure. Because also too, like, I didn't really know anybody who owned a PlayStation back then. All of my friends were N64 kids. So like, it just created this like aura of mystery around it. And because like, they didn't show much of the story. They didn't really tell you the story in the trailers and stuff. You just inferred like what you were seeing through these like really cool, like epic looking cutscenes. And then, years later when I finally actually saw, again, still didn't play it, but like when I finally actually saw what the game was, they didn't look like the cutscenes.
Yeah.
Like this does not look epic or cool at all.
It's touted for having one of the best stories in video games,
specifically in the Final Fantasy series.
This is gonna be this is gonna upset people a lot.
Yes.
But I'm equating this to Pokemon. Like I'm not an RPG guy, I do not like turn-based combat, but I really liked Pokemon when that came out, because it came out, we played it, and my mind was blown by how good the game was. This has a similar combat style. So I'm imagining myself playing Pokemon with these types of cinematics and this type of exploration and stuff. This game probably would have blown my head clean off. I probably would have been like blown away by this game if I had played it at the time. But unfortunately, I didn't. This isn't my playstyle of game, and I'm never gonna play this game.
See, like, this is one of those, like, so my play experience with it was very brief. It was maybe only like half an hour at that. There was a lot of random encounters. There was a lot of turn-based combat, like, immediately. There wasn't a lot of like the meandering and the quest finding that you normally get with like games of this style. But that said, like, what I played of it, like, I didn't immediately hate. I think because when the game starts, it throws you into the action almost immediately. Like, you get off the train, you're with your team, you're like running on your mission. It felt like fast pace and, very like action packed for a turn-based combat game.
So EPS in the YouTube chat is spamming that this is not a turn-based game, and I think he's just wrong. He says it's action turn-based, or ATB, which I don't think is true.
I don't know what that means.
I think
active time battle system. According to Wikipedia, it employs an active time battle system in which the characters exchange moves until one side is defeated. The damage or healing dealt by either side is quantified on screen.
That's if you're taking turns. What is it?
That's the thing. Yeah,
you're taking turns, man. What are we splitting hairs?
Yeah, like you select your moves from a menu, and then like
when it's your turn to hit the action,
yes,
you select it from a menu and then you do it, and then it's the other guy's turn.
Yeah, it's not the same as like a Mass Effect or even like the modern Final Fantasies.
The modern Final Fantasies are real time.
Yes,
turn based. Well, or real time.
They're real. No, they're real time
because it's not even turn.
They're closer to real time than whatever this is. You know, because when you hit the button, an action occurs on screen. That's what I'm talking about.
Sardi says not strict turns, but the characters have their own fill rates to fill their turn bar.
Okay,
still turn based.
So that's similar to Chrono Trigger. Then
I don't know.
I have played.
Can you tell that this is not our game? So it's not Pokemon type turn based, but there are turns.
Yes.
It's just sometimes somebody gets more turns than you.
Yes.
It's more closely to traditional turn based than it would be to real time.
Yes. So. I know, like, here's the thing. Like, this is definitely a blind spot in my gaming, like, overview, I would say. And, like, I feel, it's one of those things where, like, I feel like as a fan of, not just a fan of video games, but a fan of, like, the art form of video games, it's something that I should actually like sit down and experience for more than 20 minutes, because I do understand it's one of the most important video games ever released. I do understand like the history and the context of it. I do understand the fervent fan base for it. Think of it this way. Like, I can't tell you like anything about any Final Fantasy game except this one. Like, I know all the characters in it. I know all the story beats. I know like all the themes of it. All the other ones, fucked if I know.
It's definitely the most famous,
omnipresent, and most like,
The first Final Fantasy I ever played was 10 because I had a friend that was like, "You gotta play this game. It's the most amazing thing ever." And I borrowed it and I played the first hour, and I was like, "I don't like this game at all." I did play a little bit of the remake.
Yes,
I played the first like 2 demos that were
okay.
And I liked it. It was cool. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I've got 40 hours to play a game that I might not like.
40 hours to play part 1 of a 3-part remake that apparently by the second part is no longer a remake of the game was remade.
So I would probably like the newer version better than this because it's real time.
Yes.
Although it's still what would you call it? Like a points based RPG,
something like that. Yeah.
What to say about it, but I would probably like that more. However, my understanding is that the new that remake of Final Fantasy VII takes the story and kind of shakes it up a little bit.
It makes it more of like a
weird like
meta reimagining of like what the original was. I would be more
like a multiverse version of the game.
I would be more interested in playing like the modern ports of this game, because it's the same game, but they add a lot of quality of life improvements like fast forwarding, minimizing random encounters, minimizing the importance of like stat boosting and things like that. Like a much more streamlined, lack of a better word, dumbed down experience, so that, twitchy normies like me like don't get bored with it that quickly. So I'd be interested in seeing like playing that version of the game, probably more so than like the remake trilogy.
So they have actually this version that I'm watching right here is the PC version.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one that you're referring to.
Yeah.
And that version is also on the iPhone.
Yeah.
The iPhone version is the PC version. So there you go. You can do that. But I don't know. I mean, I can't recommend any of these.
Yeah.
Because I haven't played much. But if I were to have a gun to my head and I needed to play one, it might just be the remake, because I think that's the most modern and easiest to digest for me. And that's all I have to say about Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to this conversation.
You got a million ways to play this game.
Yeah. If you haven't played this game already, you're probably not going to play this game. But if you have played this game, you're probably trying to find out where we're recording from right now, so you can knock on the door and like scream in our face. We will both be at Too Many Games, so you can scream to us.
That is true. Yeah. So we're wrapping up, but you played this while I was filming a video.
Yes.
It has to, you're saying you played it on a PlayStation 2.
I say I played it on PlayStation 2, because I do not remember ever touching a PlayStation Classic.
It must have been. I mean, I don't think I even made a video on the PlayStation Classic.
No,
but it must have been the OSSC or
one of those upscalers,
or one of the upscalers, so that we could upscale a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah,
that must have been why we were doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, thanks for watching the Backlog. We're sorry.
Yeah,
we're gonna continue our podcast now. Goodbye.
Bye.
Anyway, Blackbird, thanks for the 34 months. Appreciate you, Wolf Bros. Question mark. Why are you questioning?
Listen, after that Backlog, I would question mark us too.
Let's move this Grand Theft Auto to the bottom.
Okay.
And let's talk about Nintendo.
Okay.
For the next hour.
All right. Coming for you, Nintendo.
Let's start with this. Nintendo gives themselves permission to break your Switch.
Yes.
Because it seems like the most... it seems like it's going to grind my gears.
Yeah. Nintendo's latest legal move to combat piracy may be super effective. See, that's a Metroid reference.
Guy's good.
According to a new change in the Nintendo user agreement, the console maker can brick your Switch or render it useless if it's found with pirated games or mods. While some people may have glazed over the changes since Nintendo didn't make this major announcement, GameFile Steven Totillo dug through the changes and spotted the major updates. In Nintendo's own words, you shouldn't bypass, modify, decrypt, defeat, tamper with, or otherwise circumvent any of the functions or protections of the Nintendo account services. The company's previous agreement only prohibited if you adapt, reverse engineer, or modify a Nintendo user account. But this updated language gives exact definitions of what you can't do with your Switch. If you do break these rules, Nintendo could make your applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable in whole or in part. In plain English, that means if you're found with an emulator or pirated copies of games, your Switch might just end up being a very expensive paperweight.
Okay, I'm going to read this again. This is Nintendo's words.
Yeah.
Bypass, modify, decrypt, defeat, tamper with, or otherwise circumvent any of the functions or protections of the Nintendo account services. Oh, wait. Isn't that what it previously said? Account services... I'm actually not too upset about account services. The company's previous agreement only prohibited if you adapt, reverse engineer, or modify a Nintendo user account. Okay. Nintendo account what constitutes a Nintendo account service?
That's a good question.
Because that's not the console.
The full clause is bypass, modify, decrypt, defeat, tamper with, or otherwise circumvent any of the functions or protections of the Nintendo account services, including through the use of any hardware or software that could cause the Nintendo account services to operate other than in accordance with its documentation and intended use. I think
where'd you find that?
If you click the link to the GameFile article.
Oh, GameFile, okay.
So I think they're using Nintendo account services as their way of tracking whether or not you've done something to your legally purchased Switch. You know what I mean?
Right. I just usually in these first of all, EULAs, the end user license agreement, needs to be abolished.
Yeah.
There needs to be more legal language in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act that gives EULAs less value.
Yes.
Because why do these companies need to have legal standing?
Yeah.
When we're using a product that we bought?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they need any sort of protection at all?
Yeah.
I need a good answer for that. Like, I understand, like, not suing them for something stupid, but, like, that should be already protected under the law. Anyway, I found the end user license agreement, like, from the Nintendo website. So, account service. This is an important agreement that applies to your use of the Nintendo account services. Your parent or legal guardian agrees to the Nintendo account user agreement. Okay. governs your use of the Nintendo account services through the Nintendo account defined below. You do not blah blah blah. Define it. Give me the definition.
Nintendo account means the account created by a person that is used in connection with the Nintendo account services. Nintendo account services means the services, applications, software, content, and data we make available to you through your Nintendo account, including, for example, the Switch parental controls application, video games, and add-on content, as well as any other Nintendo products, services, applications, software, content, or data that requires the use of a Nintendo account or to which you link your Nintendo account.
All right, that's scary language because it's anything that involves your Nintendo account at all.
Yes.
And that is every game.
Yeah.
Because the way you access a game on the Nintendo Switch is you pick an account first to open the game from. So that's Nintendo adding a lot of barriers, like wrapping up their legal language in as many layers as possible to try to confuse the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Because right now, there are protections in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act that allow us to copy
jailbreak our device,
jailbreak the device, work on our device, or copy our games if we legally own them. But this is wrapping that game in something that makes it illegal for us to back up
I
the
think
game.
the big thing was, previously, if you recall jailbreaking your system or you have like pirated things, they would shut down your online account specifically.
Yeah.
The new thing here, and Steven Totilo in his article bolded this, you acknowledge that if you fail to comply with the foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render the Nintendo account services and or the applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable in whole or in part. That's the new thing, where if you're caught, they will just brick your system completely and you cannot use it again.
This needs the sort of lawsuit on the gravity of Apple versus Epic.
Yes.
This is Nintendo being really strict.
Yeah.
And this is breaking some of the language in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. This is potentially an illegal move by Nintendo to do that. So, but no one's going to stop them. There's nobody who even cares to stop them.
Yeah.
Nobody with the power or the money that cares to stop Nintendo in ruining our protections as people who want to back up our games, want to use our purchases however we want to, or repair our own stuff. Because let's say your Wi-Fi chip goes out, now what? You can't play your games because you can't access an account. Let's say the Nintendo account services go down 20 years from now. That means that you're not allowed to play your Nintendo Switch 2 at all.
I mean, we've seen Nintendo, like, they shut down the Wii and the Wii U eShops. They shut down the 3DS eShops.
Yeah, if this language was the way it was on the Wii, your Wii would be bricked. You would not be allowed to use it at all. So this is illegal what Nintendo is doing.
We think we're not lawyers.
No, I'm like pretty positive this is not legal what they're doing. I mean, it's only illegal if you get caught. So far they have not been caught, but this goes against some of the language in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. So it's fucked up and it shouldn't be allowed, and I wish I knew what to do about it. But I'm just a guy who reads through this stuff. I don't have any power to do anything other than tell you guys that something fucked up is happening and you should care about it. EU consumer protection for the win. Yeah, that's literally what has been protecting us so far. So.
Thank you, Europe, and all your socialism that you have over there.
Microsoft may use technical measures, including Xbox software updates, to prevent use or unauthorized access and unauthorized games, and to protect the technical limitations, security, and anti-piracy systems on the Xbox console connects. Okay, so you're just saying that Microsoft has the same thing? That doesn't make it better.
I mean, like, look, we understand, like, these companies, they want to, like, secure their products, and they don't necessarily want you doing possible criminal activity on it. We're not saying they can't, like, protect themselves that way. We're just saying, like, we know the extremes these companies go against consumers who are not doing this in a malicious way.
But also, that language is a little more direct, like, anti-piracy systems, like, okay, that makes sense, like that's reasonable. In Nintendo's words, it's anything that circumvents the Nintendo account, which is everything on the Nintendo Switch uses the Nintendo account. That's every function of the Nintendo Switch. So I think that there's a little bit of a difference there. There was talk a few years ago that Xbox hasn't really been tampered with because the dev sandbox mode is so easy to access. There's no motivation. For real, Microsoft has been probably the best of all of the big game companies, period, when it comes to hacking and keeping up with their old games and stuff. They've been the best. It's not perfect, but it's better than everyone else has been doing. So I hate this. I hate this language, and I wish that somebody could stop them. Anyway, it's just scare tactics, but it won't scare anyone that can see. That's dangerous. Too, because everybody keeps saying this is just language, and they won't act on it, but they have been acting on it, and they've been acting more and more, and they've been taking more and more of what they can.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know,
they've been extremely litigious, and they're taking more and more and more. And somebody just has to stop. They have to start losing these battles.
Yeah, like how many? Like think about it. How many like emulator websites have they shut down like recently?
Yeah,
because they've been getting more and more.
And the arguments are that some of these emulator sites make money. Some of these emulator sites are sharing pirated software. Blah blah blah. But some of them aren't doing that.
Yeah.
It used to be like, oh, they deserve it because they're making money, or oh, they deserve it because they're selling illegal games. But in some cases it's like the Point Crow situation where like there was no money being made, but Point Crow paid a developer, and that was the illegal activity. And like that really is like a huge stretch. So like that like eventually they're just gonna sue a guy for dumping a game.
It's a lot. It's very similar to like when downloading music first started, and the record labels would just go after like moms,
a kid, like a kid who like downloaded the Eminem album. Like that's gonna happen. They're gonna come knocking on doors. There's gonna be a guy who like made a tutorial on using a MIG switch, and they're gonna fucking bust in and arrest his mom. So I'm not. This is bad no matter what way you spin. You think that they're not gonna come for you next, but you ever fucking play a Zelda ROM hack, then you're next. Anyway, any happier news?
With Nintendo?
Well, we got Mr. Buttermilk with the $5. I don't know if you guys answered this before. Have you guys played Mullet Mad Jack? I've never heard of that before.
Me neither, but it looks, I have the Steam page open. It looks fun. I had the demo to our library, so give that a shot.
I've been trying to go through demos.
Yeah.
This is a game.
Looks like a boomer.
Oh, I've seen colors. It's Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
All right, next news. And underscore, thanks for the 86 months. Next news is Switch 2 may be recording your audio and voice chats.
One of the big changes to the Switch 2 is the integration of audio and video chats throughout the console experience with the feature called Game Chat. Nintendo inventing Game Chat. However, this new feature has required Nintendo to change its privacy policy. The company has disclosed that it may record Switch 2 audio and video chat sessions held between players. In a recent update to its privacy policy, Nintendo explained, "We may collect, monitor, and record audio and video of your chat sessions with other users to provide a safe and secure environment for certain services. This data collection is done with the player's consent, which, if other consoles are anything to go by, could take the form of a clause in terms of use for the chat functionality or an opt-in screen. Further, Nintendo specifically states that this recording process is done to enforce our terms, which could include both safety policies and legal requirements. Recording video and audio chats is not unique to Nintendo, and in fact, this brings the company's approach in line with Xbox and PlayStation. Both companies came to do it for security and safety reasons. Right now, it is unclear exactly how Nintendo intends to be using these recordings for safety enforcement, and the company has not detailed what types of systems it will employ."
Nintendo is, I think, reasonably strict with some. Well, actually, I don't know. Nintendo is very strict with its online system and communication through the online system, like voice chat. They've been very hesitant to do voice chat in like
anything
a modern way,
Yeah.
because you got kids on there and you don't want them
Yeah.
getting into some shit. Like allowing them to communicate with anybody on the internet is like opening the door for some disaster for a family console. You know, I understand why they're a little hesitant to make it the way that it is on other modern consoles. So them recording stuff kind of makes a little bit of sense. Like it's a good way for I would be upset if like Discord just started recording everything, because like that's a breach of privacy. But for some accountability where you have a lot of kids on a platform, I think that I'm not too upset about that. Because, you know, when fucked up shit starts to happen, now you have a log of it.
Yeah. And I think, you know, we hear Nintendo is doing it so instantly, like, you know, we get scared, the red flags start popping up. But like, as we said, it is commonplace with the other systems. Microsoft, for instance, states that it collects data from chat sessions, at least in part, to power Xbox's voice chat reporting functionality, and PlayStation party sessions and voice chats are also recorded to some extent for safety and security. You know, I guess the other concern is, you know, they just said that like if you modify our hardware, we're going to brick your system. Does this potentially open the door to like overreach on Nintendo's part, where you say like, you know, we're in a chat session together and you say something like, "Oh, I just bought the new Ambernick, whatever. It can actually play up to GameCube," and then Nintendo hears that and then flags your system. Now you're on a no-fly list.
Well, here's the thing, Will.
Yeah.
I would never be caught dead using their voice chat. So I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't like Nintendo overreaching at all. I don't like them being given the power to overreach in that way.
Yeah.
However, I think them being very careful with their communication interface makes a lot of sense, given the vulnerable people who are going to be using the service.
Yeah.
So some people would look at this and say that it's a breach of privacy. I would look at this and say this might actually be helpful to some people. Assuming that Nintendo is a net good in this way.
Right.
Because you could have someone at a company that uses this in a nefarious way, or does, or you have to like really trust the company that's gonna be listening in on your conversations. So I mean, when I first saw that Nintendo had like a camera feature, my mind immediately went to the advent of the Kinect and the iToy, the PS4 Astro's Playroom, whatever, where everyone was just having sex and broadcasting it. That shit's gonna happen on the Nintendo Switch version. I guess you can't really stream it publicly. You would just kind of be in a private room.
Yeah.
But still, like, you could like be playing a game with somebody, find their account, friend them, and then just start talking to them. And like that is where the danger lies.
Yeah.
That's why Nintendo's been kind of strict with it, and I honestly don't blame them.
Yeah.
For that. Anyway, legitimate Wolf Den fan has been just showing me EULAs from every company. Every company in their EULA doesn't want class action lawsuits.
Yeah.
And the EULA basically exists so that you can't sue them over some dumb shit. And I think that is also fucked up. I don't like that either, but that's not as damning as trying to circumvent the Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
Yeah. I highly recommend you check down the graphic novel Terms and Conditions. It is Robert Sikoriak took the iTunes Terms and Conditions and made a 94-page graphic novel adaptation of it. It is the only way I have ever read the iTunes Terms and Conditions. But it is actually a very good book, aside from that.
Does Discord not already record everything? I could have sworn they were under heat for it not to. I have no idea. Honestly. Do we have an article about the patent? There was a patent that Nintendo had at one point patented the camera being in the tablet.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not that's the whole article. So there's nothing important there.
That's it. Hit send.
But that's part of why I thought that there was gonna be a camera in the tablet. It just made sense.
I think Hori just revealed their camera accessory for the Switch 2.
No, they had the Piranha plant.
Well, now they have a non-Piranha plant.
Oh,
it's like that big.
Is it the same price?
I don't know.
And is it 480p? Because the Piranha plant's 480p.
Probably it's tiny.
Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't have like a long stem either.
Doesn't the Wii U tablet have a camera? It does.
Yeah.
Anyway. Next, Nintendo Switch news. Nintendo estimates 15 million Switch 3s. Switch 3 consoles sold. That's what you wrote.
That meant 2. Switch 2. We're not on Switch 3 yet. Nintendo is throwing some cold water on Switch 2 sales estimates, even though launch demand seems to be off the charts. In its latest earnings report, the company projects sales of 15 million Switch 2 units, that's 2, in its first year on sale to March 2026, fewer than analyst predictions of 16.8 million. It doesn't explain the number, but it is likely due to uncertainty around the US tariffs and the fact that Nintendo is usually cautious with its forecasts. Switch 2 sales opened with a bang as resellers immediately sold out, and the company said Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders may not arrive until after the June 5th launch. That shows that there's a lot of pent-up demand for the new model following the Switch's 8-year run. But last month, Nintendo delayed pre-orders due to concerns over President Trump's tariffs on electronic goods. Despite its fears and buyers' complaints of a $450 price tag, the company received 2.2 million applications for pre-orders in Japan alone, and a number that Nintendo said far exceeds their expectations. Speaking to investors after an earnings report was released, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa cautioned that U.S. tariffs are one area the company does not have control over. According to Yahoo Japan, Furukawa explained that Nintendo's current policy is to recognize the tariff as a cost, but if additional tariffs necessitate a price increase in the U.S., then demand in the country may fall. He also highlighted that rising prices of daily expenses and food could negatively impact customer budgets for games. At present, the company expects 45 million Switch 2 games to be sold throughout the fiscal year.
I'm going to say it. 20 million.
Systems?
My guess. 20 million systems. Was the 15 million figure? Oh, it's a fiscal year. 20
fiscal
million.
Year.
20 million.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
I think that Nintendo is always, even this article says Nintendo is always a little under what actually happened.
Yeah.
So, and analysts are predicting 16.8. I'm going to say 20.
I'm going to say 14.
You think it's under what they predict?
I don't know, because like 15 even seems a little high. You know, it's a brand new system. I mean, yes, it's the Switch 2. It's probably the most hyped system in a very long time. Probably more hyped than the PS5 and the Xbox Series were. But it's a really shaky economy right now. The price is very high for what I think people are expected to be. And yeah, people are more cautious with how they spend their money. So
Yeah.
I don't think, 14 million still seems like a lot, but even that, I don't know if like 15 million is realistic in this current age we're living in.
My biggest hang up is the current US economy and if it crashes more.
Yeah.
That's my biggest hang-up.
Because like the US is the biggest market for games.
Mhm.
Like just period, in terms of like the number of people in this country who go out and buy games. So if we don't get close to like what the number should be, then I don't think we're gonna get 15 million.
Ignoring the current market conditions,
Yes.
I would say 20 million.
Okay.
If things get way worse, it probably will be less than 20 million. Being less than what Nintendo themselves predict, I think is I don't think that's possible. I think that again, they're a lot more conservative than they normally should be. And I think that this is like the biggest console, the most hyped console launch like of all time.
Yeah.
It is a brand new console, but it is very similar to the one that they just had that was the most popular Nintendo console of all time. So it has a lot of wind under its wings.
Yes.
So I think that I always predicted that the Switch 2 would be really hype, but not as big of a deal as the Switch 1.
Yeah.
Because the Switch 1, like there was like a mystery to it. Like, what is this thing?
Even when the Switch 1 launched, I don't think people like really understood what they were dealing with until like a year later, and they got it in their hands and they started playing. Games were coming out.
But in this case, people already know.
Right.
They get the vibe already. Like the first one, they didn't know what the hell it was. So they were very confused by it. This one, I think they get the vibe and they know what it is. It's just a better version of the one that they've already seen. And that could also be bad. Like people are like, oh, I have that already. I don't need another one. But I think that so many people had the first one, or at least have had contact with it. That I can see why this next one would be as hype as it is.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking to my analysis there. This mentions tariffs, so let's go into the WULFF Den tariff corner real quick. Last week I was confused why I got tariffed by PCBWay. If the tariffs haven't taken effect yet, because we were talking about Hasbro, I think.
Yes.
Well, Will, it is because de minimis. I was under the de minimis exemption rule, so I got fucking tariffed.
Yeah.
Because obviously Hasbro is ordering thousands,
right?
And my purchase was under that, so I got tariffed up the end. Had I known that, maybe I would have spent a lot more money. But I didn't. So that's what happened. Apparently, I was Joey Retro Handhelds on Blue Sky. I'm not gonna be able to pull this up. He kind of broke down a little more what's happening with tariffs now.
Yeah.
It seems like they are negotiating with China and the tariffs are changing on the daily.
Yeah.
And it looks like the latest thing that I saw was 54% tariff instead of 120, with the dollar amount of $100.
Okay, that's because last I saw was 30%.
Okay, that could be. This was as of a day ago, so maybe yours is more accurate.
I mean, that's what it was.
This is de minimis.
This is de minimis. No, I mean like the overall tariff.
No, this is just de minimis. Because this is Joey Retro Handhelds is talking about retro handhelds.
Yes, of course.
Because he's Joey and he talks about retro handhelds.
I got that. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So they're all de minimis. No, it's $30 over $800. Yeah, that's not de minimis. That is the opposite of de minimis. If it's over $800, it's not de minimis. So, and Joey is Canadian too. I know. Well, he's putting in the legwork, man. So the numbers are changing daily.
Yes.
The moral of the story is I got fucked royally.
Yes, you did.
I ordered a bunch of PCBs.
Yes.
And I did it so that I could have them as giveaways at PAX. They came the day after I left for PAX.
Yes.
It's 45% under $800 plus a $100 portal duty. That's so much.
Yeah.
And again, that is under 800 is the de minimis exemption.
Yeah. Yeah, the overall China tariffs are 30% now.
Yeah, so if you spend over $800 worth of product,
Yeah.
it will be 30%. Probably plus some other bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now where are we?
I think we're up to
The Video Game Hall of
the
Fame.
Video Game Hall of Fame. Yes.
Oh, we love to trash all over these every year.
Yes. Well, look, there is genuinely a very controversial pick this year.
Okay.
4 more video games have been inducted into the World's Video Game Hall of Fame. The Strong Museum of Play announced on Thursday. Those games are Defender from Williams Electronics, GoldenEye 007 from Rare, Quake from id Software, and Tamagotchi. The quartet of classic games emerged from a list of the 2025 Video Game Hall of Fame nominees, which included Age of Empires, Angry Birds, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, Frogger, Golden Tee, Harvest Moon, Madden, Mattel Football, and NBA 2K. Those 4 titles selected significantly influenced popular culture and the video game industry. The Strong Museum said in a news release, the museum's annual nominees are judged on 4 metrics: icon status, longevity, geographical reach, and influence.
Honestly, all bangers. I'm gonna say it. I think they all deserve it.
They all deserve it. They all like hit the metrics. They're all iconic. They all have longevity. People still talk about them to the day. Geographical reach, they're international, and influence, they're all very influential. Now, is Tamagotchi a video game?
Yeah, 1,000%.
You would consider that a video
I don't
game.
think there's any argument against it. What's the argument against it? It's not on a console?
It's not like I view it more as like a toy in like the traditional sense. Because like, yes, like it's a digital device, it's an interactive device, there's a screen and there's buttons, but like I don't view it as like a true like video game.
Well,
You know?
are the Tiger Electronics games video games?
I guess
They're games.
but like
they're classified as games.
Yeah.
Aren't they classified as video games?
I
Game and Watch? It's a video game.
Yeah, I guess like the technical definition of a video game, yes, it meets that standard.
It plays a video. The video is just one frame.
Yeah.
And that repeats over and over again. I say yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It's just not a traditional console
Yes.
video game, but it is
Because like I
it is
understand
playing a video and it is a game.
I understand they induct like, you know, weird things that we don't necessarily think of as traditional video games. Like Mattel Football is a handheld with like, I think just red lights, but like that's like an early version of a video game. Barbie's Fashion Designer was inducted like a couple years ago, and I would argue that's like one of the most important PC games of its era. So like I understand they think outside the box when it comes to inducting video games.
Yeah, I mean Tamagotchi plays an animation. So like
Yeah.
it's gotta be a video.
But then okay, so if it plays an animation, then is like
directly influenced by your input.
okay, so then like Zork would be considered a video game.
Well, Zork is a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it's just a
Even though it's
text-based video game.
text-based,
Yeah. Quake, I mean, obviously highly influential.
Highly
It was, like,
influential.
one of the first mouse look games.
Mouse look games, online play.
I think Marathon was technically the first.
Marathon was the
mouse-look
first,
game.
yeah. Quake more so for its online capabilities, its
Yes.
esports influence, 3D graphics processor.
GoldenEye for it,
obviously
the most influential first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Console first-person
Yes.
shooter for sure. And then Defender, it's a cool arcade game.
Yeah.
So by that logic, is a blood glucose meter a video game? Shut the fuck up, dude. It helps me play the game of life. Sure, man.
I mean, you can play Snake on your electric tea kettle.
Wait, there are blood glucose monitors that are games. Didn't Nintendo have one? For the Wii?
For the Wii? No, you're thinking of Vitality Sensor. They never came out with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was one that was a game.
Yeah.
Digit, blood glucose meter. No, that's not it. Gluco Boy.
Is that for the Game Boy?
Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
Here you go, Gluco Boy.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
So yes.
See the video on it. There you go. All right.
In fairness, Digimon is more of a video game as it has a battles feature as well as raising them.
We're not like this isn't a competition.
Yeah, I mean, like
a game's a game.
If you like, by this extent, like Tamagotchi, I guess really is like a very, 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 very scaled down version of like Nintendogs.
Yeah,
because like they're both about raising creatures. You know, one is just full 3D and the other is like on a calculator screen.
You hit a button and animation happens.
Yes,
that is a video.
There is a game over state in Tamagotchi if you kill it.
Yeah, you can kill it.
Yeah.
Jin Wong, thanks for the 48 months. Showing some love. Keep it up, bros. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
South Australia guy, thanks for the 6 months. Loving the show. Did you know that paywall news articles can be accessed by putting the link into ChatGPT? I did not know that.
I did not know that. Still won't use ChatGPT.
I use ChatGPT exclusively to take the show notes that we have and strip all of the links and make it a bulleted list. And I frequently have to go, no, do it again. Also, Professor Rock, thanks for the $2.
Yes.
Great to see you guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyway. Next news, Palworld.
Oh
they
boy.
made changes specifically because of the Nintendo lawsuits.
Yes.
Who would have thunk it?
Nintendo and the Pokemon Company filed a lawsuit against Pocket Pair in Japan last year, alleging that Palworld infringes on 3 patents that are related to monster catching gameplay. On Thursday, Pocket Pair confirmed it had previously patched out the ability to summon pals via Palspheres due to legal action and confirmed that further changes were coming in order to avoid disrupting future development and releases. Quote, on November 30th, 2024, we released patch 0.3.11 for Palworld. This patch removed the ability to summon pals by throwing pal spears and instead changed it to static summon next to the player. Several other game mechanics were also changed with this patch. As many have speculated, these changes were indeed the result of ongoing litigation. Everyone here at Pocket Pair was disappointed that this adjustment had to be made, and we fully understand that many players feel the same frustration. Unfortunately, as the alternative would have led to an even greater deterioration of the gameplay experience for players, it was determined that this change was necessary. In addition, Pocket Pair said that with the implementation of patch 0.5.5 this week, we must make yet another compromise. From this patch onward, gliding will be performed by using a glider rather than with pals. Pals in the player's team will still provide passive buffs to gliding, but players will now need to have a glider in their inventory in order to glide.
This is a terrible outcome.
Yes.
Because, like, I've always been saying that Palworld is a ripoff of Pokemon and is ripe for a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the imagery, not the game mechanics.
Yeah.
But Nintendo saw that it would probably be most likely to win a lawsuit if they go after them for game mechanics. So now they have to change the game mechanics in some weird, almost arbitrary ways.
Yeah.
Now you can still fly, but you can't do it on a PAL. Like, that's such a stupid way to circumvent the lawsuit. But it's just what they have to do. Yeah.
I think, and the article goes on to say, like, the studio lists multiple games, like in the lawsuit, Palworld, Pocket Pair, lists multiple games that they argue also infringe on Nintendo's lost patents, but like Nintendo hasn't.
Oh, so they reference other games that aren't being sued by Nintendo.
Correct.
That infringe on the lawsuit. Okay. I mean, like, you could take the fucking Pokemon, the PAL that looks like Lucario, and then Lucario and be like, look, aren't they ripping us off?
Yeah.
But that's harder to prove in court.
Especially, like, riding a beast in a game to fly. Like, how many games do that?
A beast that you own.
Yeah.
A slave of yours.
Yeah. Like, you can, like...
I understand throwing the PAL sphere.
Yes.
That is infringing.
Yeah.
Riding the beast is stupid because come on, like Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah.
The whole game is that. So that sucks that they have to be that legally distinct now. But I mean, we knew it was inevitable they were gonna get sued by Nintendo eventually. Now, they have a deal with PlayStation, right?
Yeah, they're out on PlayStation.
Yeah, but they have like they have money. There was money exchange, like PlayStation, like
That
partially
I'm
funded
not
them
sure.
or something.
Because they debuted on Xbox first.
Oh. No, yeah, no, they made a deal with PlayStation. Some sort of deal. I don't know exactly what the deal was, but PlayStation was like, we like this Palworld thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, they made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So I think that even if they get sued for a decent amount, I don't think it'll be enough to like cripple them.
Yeah.
I mean, usually these sorts of lawsuits scale with the amount of money that you make, but
yeah.
because of the nature of the things that they're going after them for, I don't think that the amount of money is going to be like significant.
Yeah. PlayStation, Pocket Pair, and Sony Music Entertainment joined together to create Palworld Entertainment, a multimedia licensing company that sounds a lot like Palworld's version of the Pokemon company.
Oh, yeah. So they are partnered with PlayStation.
Yeah.
So going after Pocket Pair is going after PlayStation.
Yeah. There you go.
So that's an interesting battle. They could also be like, I mean, obviously their lawyers were like, hey, you should take out the PAL thing and the riding dragons, riding your PALs thing.
Yeah.
Also possible that PlayStation is helping them with that, and PlayStation's like, take these out of the game. Anyway, next news, Mafia.
The Old
This one
Country.
hits close to home.
2K Games and developer Hangar 13 revealed a longer look at gameplay for Mafia: The Old Country on Thursday, showing how the origin story from the Mafia franchise stands apart from the open world organized crime competition. In fact, Hangar 13 is hinting strongly that it has no intentions to make Mafia: The Old Country your next forever game. Instead, the game's creators call The Old Country a focused, linear experience that combines quality storytelling, authentic era immersion, and a refined take on the familiar Mafia gameplay. Hangar 13 president Nick Baines said in the news release that the smaller, more linear approach allows us to deliver a story that's gritty, grounded, and brutal and emotional. The strongest evidence of Mafia: The Old Country's scope is its price. 2K is selling the base game for $50. There is a deluxe edition that costs $60 and includes a bunch of extras, naturally, but the asking price is certainly atypical of a AAA game in 2025. Mafia: The Old Country is coming to PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X on August 8th.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
I am excited for this game.
It is. I mean, it's great that they're bucking, the trends, the easy trends of, like they said, the forever game, having it being like $80. They're saying, no, we're going to create a smaller, more focused, tighter experience, and we're going to charge accordingly. And I think that's wonderful. I hope more game studios do that.
Yeah, I hope that it's relatively short.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. I'd rather pay less for a short experience than pay $70 for a game I might not finish.
Yeah.
And
my experience with the Mafia games isn't big. I have them all. I want to play them eventually, but like the most I played was 2, and it was an open world, but the focus was like very linear. Like it wasn't about like driving around the town.
No, you go from mission to mission to mission.
Yeah.
You just go through the world.
Yeah.
In between.
And I think that's an interesting take on it. And if they can make the Old Country more focused than that, then more power to them.
Yeah.
And charging accordingly for
it. This new look shows protagonist Enzo Favara as he takes the oath, works his way up Don Torrisi's crime family, and shoots up 1900 Sicily.
I did show the trailer to our mom, and she's
okay.
like, "Oh yeah, that does look like it." So it comes out on August 8th when we will be flying back from your wedding. So as long as it's Steam Deck compatible, I will get it and I will play it with mom on the plane.
Does it say that it? Did the trailer have Sicilian in it?
No, the trailer was in English. Yeah,
I'm interested in that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play it in Sicilian.
Yes.
I feel like even our own family's Sicilian will not be the Sicilian that they talk. I feel like there's way too many dialects of Italian. Anyway, next news, Indiana Jones. Oh, it's deck verified.
Yes. Indiana Jones.
Maybe I can play it now.
Yeah. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is now Steam Deck verified. Bethesda has released a hotfix, which will include optimized Steam Deck settings. A quick note from Machine Games. When running the game on Steam Deck, the texture pool size is now set to a value called Steam Deck to avoid exceeding RAM limits that will crash the game. Other graphics options can still be adjusted to preference. The hotfix features a nice mix of bug fixes. For example, Indy will no longer drop items such as his lighter after fast-fingered players rapidly switch equipped items with the D-pad at the same time as picking up other items. The developer said those who have dropped any important progression items should find them restored once they've installed the hotfix and launched the game. So that's good.
I love it when I pick up a game on a PC handheld or a Steam Deck after months of not playing it, and it plays way better than when I first played it.
You notice a lot of like, new release games that are unsupported or like quote unquote just playable, and then like they're content to let it sit there. And I think that's a big missed opportunity because, as we've talked about on the show, the Steam Deck is objectively the best-selling PC handheld.
Yeah.
Valve is gearing SteamOS to be more available on more platforms. So it only makes sense for developers to find ways to optimize their games for the SteamOS and Steam Deck specifically.
Yeah. It's happened very frequently where I pick up a game after a while and it suddenly like works like way better.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting it to.
Yeah.
The unfortunate side effect of that is that whenever there's a new handheld coming out and I test the games on it, I have to then go back and retest the games on the old shit because they might have updated it to have it, and then it's not a good comparison between. So anyway, Indiana Jones did not run great on any PC handheld that I played. It ran like fine, but like not as good as I would have liked to have seen it play.
Yeah.
So I think the RAM fix that they said is going to help a lot, especially for the Steam Deck. It ran like absolute trash on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So hopefully that means it'll work better on my Ally X with Bazite, and maybe I'll actually play it this time. Last news. Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer.
Yes, following the debut of the new Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, Rockstar Games has confirmed a key detail about it. In a social media post, Rockstar Games clarified that the trailer was captured entirely in-game on a PlayStation 5. A Rockstar Games spokesperson confirmed to GameSpot that the footage captured was on a standard PS5, not a PS5 Pro.
So the quote from Rockstar Games, it was in a tweet, and it says Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer 2 was captured entirely. Oh, this trailer was captured entirely in-game from a PlayStation 5 comprised of equal parts gameplay and cutscenes.
Yes.
Okay, the equal parts gameplay and cutscenes cannot be true.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, did I not see this trailer, maybe?
This is the trailer that debuted. Yeah.
Well, it's this trailer 2. What was trailer 1? Oh, trailer 1 was like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Not equal parts gameplay and cutscenes.
You don't think so?
Impossible. No, not possible.
How is it impossible?
Gameplay, you're playing the game.
Yeah.
Where do I have control of the character?
So
right here, it's probably transitioning into gameplay.
Right.
Okay, this might be gameplay.
That's probably gameplay. There's a first person.
No, he's smiling though.
Okay, that could be rendered in game. That's gameplay.
This is gameplay.
There's another part where like that's probably gameplay. There's
You're
probably
not playing, man.
There's probably an exercise mini game. That's probably gameplay.
That's not gameplay.
How is that
no
not
way,
gameplay?
No way that's gameplay.
Walking out of the store
could be gameplay.
Walking out of the store isn't gameplay.
No, I'm not buying it. This is not gameplay. That's cutscene.
The part where what's her face? Lucia is beating up that guy on the plane. That's got to be gameplay.
All right, well, we'll get there eventually. This is cutscene.
This is cutscene.
I'm saying mostly cutscene.
You gotta think like you do a lot in the Grand Theft Auto games. You exercise.
Am I playing this? Is this the hot coffee mod?
That's what got him in trouble the first time. I mean, look, that might be gameplay.
We're not playing a game, man. This is all cutscene. I'm not controlling these characters in these environments. I know that Grand Theft Auto is really good at having cinematic worlds where like the camera has like the camera can do a lot.
Yeah.
So like him driving around and stuff, probably actually controlling the character. That's probably actual in-game footage.
The dancing, that could be in-game. That could be gameplay. Because you dance in Grand Theft Auto.
I believe that this is all in-game footage.
Right.
in-game is not the same as gameplay.
Correct.
I don't think any of this is gameplay.
I think
most of this is not gameplay.
That kick was probably gameplay. The explosion could be gameplay. That right there.
That's okay. That's like an on-rails part of the gameplay.
It's still gameplay.
The fact that it says, my argument is that it says equal parts gameplay at cutscene. What we saw was almost entirely cutscenes. Most of that was not actual gameplay where you are controlling anything.
I think okay. Let's pull back a second.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is probably something that is happening in the game while you are controlling it.
Traditionally, there's been a difference between gameplay and cutscene. The quality between the two historically has been like noticeably different.
Yes. And the term for that is in-game footage.
Yes.
And I think that this is all in-game footage.
Right. So as games have gotten better and better graphically, the quality difference between in-game and cutscene, between gameplay and cutscene, has gotten like smaller and smaller to the point where they're nearly indistinguishable. And I think the point is that no matter what you're doing in Grand Theft Auto, be it watching a cinematic or playing the game, it's gonna look like that. It's gonna look equally good.
Grand Theft Auto has always had cutscenes that are in-game.
Right.
They're not like Final Fantasy VII, where it's like completely different. You know, Grand Theft Auto has always had their animations be the same, rendered the same as in-game footage. So I believe that. That's all reasonable. That's fine. That makes a lot of sense. It's the fact that they said equal parts gameplay and cutscenes that I take issue with, because that is not equal parts gameplay.
Well, I think we're also missing the fact that this was all captured on a standard PlayStation 5.
That's cool. That's really cool. I like that a lot.
Which is insane, because everybody thought, the analysts thought like the Pro was going to be what you need to play Grand Theft Auto 5, at peak performance. And Rockstar clearly is out here like, no.
First of all, this game has been in development for a dog's year.
Yeah.
And it's probably tailor-made for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
The Pro is, no matter how much gussing up you do for the Pro, it is such a marginal difference.
Yeah.
And the biggest difference, I mean, there's difference in lighting, so that might make a difference in a game like this. But the biggest difference is the frame rate, and you're not going to really tell that in a trailer.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense to be this is a regular PlayStation 5.
So there you go. Rockstar says you don't need a PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah, I that's great. And that'll make it accessible to a lot more people. Again, we were expecting huge console sales this year because of this game. Now this game got pushed back to next year. So I guess we will not be seeing those huge console sales until next year. Could be also that Rockstar is anticipating an economic crash.
Yeah.
And that's why they pushed it back.
Well, when they charge $100 for their game, yeah.
That'll be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Word of the week! Word of the week! Word of the week!
This is by Rothmus. British people when you call it soccer. I spent the weekend with a lot of British people.
And then they all make that face when you call it soccer?
This is 100% accurate. Who is that?
It looks like a Capullo drawing, but I don't think it's from Batman.
Guys, who is that?
Don't want to have to Google image search it. Is it the Creech? That's like his creator-owned character.
The Creech?
The Creech.
Is that someone we went to high school with?
It might have been.
Well, in the meantime...
It is not the Creech.
Someone in the YouTube chat just said, your mom. In the meantime, now we're going to talk to you guys.
Yes. Let's start off with people who have comments on last week's Wolf Den Podcast over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Wolf Den Podcast.
We got Trinity, who says the issue with Genki having info that they did not directly sign an NDA for is the same principle for information or data that leads to a person who knowingly buys a stolen physical item being charged with possession and receipt of stolen goods without explicit permission or agreement with the owner. Having the thing is illegal. Okay, so if they can prove that Genki bought the information,
yes,
then then they could be charged.
Mm-hmm.
Which is honestly most likely.
Yeah.
I mean, how else? Why else would some like a manufacturer or a factory in China give them the information?
Yeah.
You know, unless they found it on the ground outside of the
Yeah.
factory. You know. Inspica says it's rich hearing Bob say that football rules are, quote, some nerd shit. As they're sitting next to a messed up looking Sonic on a video game podcast. Making fun of our
Sanic
plushie. Hold on. Game fact. This is
guy?
Sanic.
This guy right here.
His name's Sanic. That's
Yeah.
your game. That's your. For the record, I don't know football rules and love your podcast, but I still had to laugh. And then we got Chubbs the Owl with a timestamp of 54 minutes and 20 seconds. As a New York Islanders fan, we don't need to fight during our hockey games in order to get our asses beat. At least we have the first draft pick. Yay!
Yay!
Does that mean if you're the worst team, you get the first?
Usually.
Great. And then Brian Davis Design says, "Hey, Wolf Bros, you guys are the best part of my Wednesday morning routine. Thanks." Oh my God,
Thanks.
thank you. Do me with the comment on last week. I always sell my old console to offset the cost of the new one. Sold my PS4 for $200 for my PS5 and my OG Switch for $250 for my OLED. I got to be honest, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Because you're most likely not going to be touching this old console. I am a hoarder.
Yeah, as I have my closet full of like all my old PlayStations and Xboxes.
I'm a hoarder and I like collecting these things,
Mhm.
but it is not the smart thing to do.
No.
And I am acknowledging
Yes.
it is a problem.
Um,
Trinity says the issue with Genki having I read that already. So we're done.
that was an image of Dr. Death from, it was Greg Capullo's from Batman 25, which I have, but I don't remember that.
I think this looks familiar, and it might just be because
No, it's Greg Capullo's Dr. Death from the new 52 Batman.
Yeah, then I definitely read that.
Yeah. But I don't
If you said who is Dr. Death, I would never be able to tell you who that is.
Because that's not what he traditionally
I
looks
think
like.
it just looks like Capullo and who was it, Alex Sinclair, the colorist.
Well, no, it's 100% Greg Capullo. But I mean, this is what Dr. Death looked like in the Golden Age. He just looked like a guy.
That looks like the shrinker guy from Harvey Birdman. What's his name?
Oh, Reducto.
Reducto.
Back off.
All right, now we're in the chat.
Yes. Where are my Harvey Birdman fans? Attorney at law.
How would we need him
Yes.
to help us?
He would know.
Sue Nintendo. K-Jack says, did you see Costco has Donkey Kong Bonanza for $63?
I heard about that,
Switch
yeah.
2 Pro controllers. Oh, somebody earlier mentioned that the GameCube controller is on sale right now.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. It was like going in and out of stock.
It is currently loading. Sold out.
Okay. I know
I'll read
Costco
about
was
that.
selling Joy-Cons for like $30, like the sets, and I keep forgetting to like drive by Costco and see if I can snag one. Because that's a good deal. No, we need Phoenix Wright. I think Phoenix Wright is technically a better lawyer, but Harvey Birdman is a much more fun lawyer.
Yeah, I'd rather Harvey Birdman. I wanted adventure.
Yeah.
Check online first. Not all stores carry them. When do we think the next Switch pre-order is?
I think we're done.
It'll be random. It'll be a random store will randomly get them in stock. That happened at GameStop like last week. It just randomly was back in stock again. To turn on all your stock.
Yeah, just keep looking. Otherwise, you might not get another chance until the system launches.
If you want one and you do not get one by the time it launches, you don't want it enough.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys think the mouse mode for the Switch looked kind of bad on the Nintendo News app? Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. It's I mean, that's not like a story or anything.
Yeah.
Where do I even find this? So the Nintendo News app has been every day. It shows a little clip of the Nintendo Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Today's was them just showing how quickly you can switch between using a thumbstick and mouse mode on Metroid, which is just what I showed in my video. However, yesterday, they showed that you can use mouse mode on the desktop to navigate it like you would a computer. And it just has kind of a bland cursor.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is like that bad. Everybody, of course, wants this to be... I thought there would be comments. Everybody, of course, wants this to be the Wii finger. They want the Wii finger as the cursor instead of this. I think it's fine. It's in order to be more like a modern day tech device.
Yeah.
They're kind of conforming to a boring style. I mean, I would like a finger. Maybe if you use the browser, sometimes when you hover over a link, it'll be a pointer finger, and hopefully that'll be the Wii pointer finger. What happens now if you connect a second mouse? Like on a Wii, you have multiple fingers with numbers on them.
Well, both Joy-Cons can be mice.
Yeah.
So it must register that some way.
Yeah, but
I think
will that work in desktop mode? Is what I'm saying. Like in desktop mode, can you have a second pair of Joy-Con? Maybe then it'll turn into a finger with a number on it.
Maybe. So, because like that wheelchair basketball game recognizes both as mice. It might just be on a game by game basis. Honestly. Even like in the the menu, the Switch 2 system only recognizes one at a time.
Yeah. I can't wait to do my taxes on. I'm shocked at just how many Walmart pre-orders went through with no cancellation emails a day later. I was hearing that a lot of people were thinking they were getting their order canceled. Like Best Buy, I think the way Best Buy works is they take your money just to see if your card works, and then they give it right back to you.
Okay.
So that was happening to people, and they were thinking that they were getting their order canceled. With the Switch Pro controller working on a Switch 2, are there any major gameplay reasons to buy a Switch 2 Pro controller? It has a mic input.
It has back buttons.
And the back button.
The mappable back button. So if like you're a fan of those and like you like using back buttons, or like you feel it's like an accessibility thing, then maybe that might be worth the upgrade.
The answer is no. There is really no gameplay reason like at all.
It's more like functionality.
Now, Ayo, it's Nigel Gaming, says the new D-pad. Now, there was a report from some random Reddit user a few days ago that said the D-pad's different now. It's new and different. I don't think that's accurate. I played with it.
Right.
And at the time I said it felt new and different. And then I came home and played with my regular Pro controller, and I was like, that kind of feels exactly the same.
Okay.
So I don't think the Pro controller has a new D-pad.
Okay.
I will do a direct comparison when I get the two in my hands. But as it stands right now, I don't think they're the same. I mean, I think that it's probably the same D-pad. But don't get your hopes up. The thumbsticks are different. The thumbsticks are definitely different. Arc System Works hacked Switch 2 game card style. Oh yeah, this was a big thing that everybody was going nuts about over the weekend. Arc System Works was hacked, and there was some information that came out, and apparently the biggest deal from this information is that the game cards are only game key cards or 64 gigabytes, and there is no in between.
Yes.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be a very stupid move.
Yeah,
because Nintendo, all of their games are confirmed to be the 64 gigabyte card.
Yeah.
And Nintendo is the ones that compress their games to all hell. So
Yeah.
like they would benefit the least from a 64 gigabyte
Yeah.
card. So why would they do that?
I know on Switch 1 there were multiple sizes for the carts, like depending on like what a publisher could afford or not.
Yeah.
You know, I think it would make sense to have multiple multiple sizes available. Also too, like, you know, when the cost of memory goes down and they introduce like 128 gig game cards, then the 64 gig cards can go down. I think a lot of people are just like really upset by the idea of the key cards.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're basically buying like a dummy cartridge with nothing on it.
Yeah, and having either a 64 gigabyte card or a game key card would incentivize third parties to just use the key card.
Yeah.
Unless there's a middle ground. There should be some middle ground.
But also too, like, you know, the key card is essentially so that you just download everything to the system. I think there might be third parties who would want to do like a half and half, like 64, get the 64 gig card and then download the rest, you know, because that might be a better value proposition.
They're also saying there was a leak that the Switch 2 will have 12 gigabytes of RAM. Yes, that leak happened months ago. It just came back up, apparently. Everybody was saying, confirmed 12 gigabytes. That was the second thing we wrote on this board.
Yeah.
Was 12 gigabytes of RAM. So we've been done with that.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a check. We checked it off as confirmed. So where'd that come from?
Yeah.
If it really is PS4 Pro-ish specs, 12 gigabytes will be fine. Kind of hard to accept it, though, when I know myself and most people I talk to on PC now, 32 gigabytes, 64 gigabytes RAM is the norm. With games that are specifically made for the Switch 2, I don't think the RAM matters that much.
Yeah.
As long as it's fast, I don't think it matters. Limited Run says its numbered Nintendo Switch 2 physical releases will be full game on cartridge, not game key cards.
Okay. Limited Run also got in hot water because their Shantae, the new Shantae game they released on Game Boy Advance cartridges, there's evidence to suggest that they're just buying old, cheap Game Boy Advance games and flashing them to put the game on.
Well,
like they're not buying new PCBs.
They're you can't flash an old game.
That's what they're doing.
Well, it's a one and done. They're probably buying old like Chinese knockoff.
No, they're buying games and like erasing the data on.
How do you do that? It's a one time. It's like a CD-ROM.
Well, they're finding ways to do it.
I need to look into that.
Yeah.
Word on the street is Limited Run Games sucks. I have heard rumblings of Limited Run.
Yeah, they're not exactly
bad.
Not exactly like the good guy.
Oh, in better news, let's see if I can pull this up. They have competition now. Lost in Cult, they are starting their own game publishing for limited run physical games.
Interesting.
So there will be a little bit of competition for limited run.
There's another company that's like competition with them. Of course, do I remember what the name of that company is?
I know, I'm forgetting. They're like the biggest one outside of limited run. The second one is like, it's like almost limited run. It's like super rare.
Yeah.
Super rare, yes.
Oh, this just
came out. I Am 8-Bit is another one.
Yes, the one I'm thinking of. The Nintendo store in San Francisco opened, and apparently they have a kiosk where you can create your own custom Joy-Con colors.
Oh, they have that in Japan,
right? And it's same day delivery, basically.
Why don't we have that in New York? That's so stupid.
I think I don't think Nintendo likes us very much.
Yeah, the New York store
it's kind of just a store
getting boring. Yeah, they don't have anything cool anymore.
But like, why would you have this feature now when like your new system is going to come out?
Because it's easy, because they have it already in Japan.
Yeah.
It's been a thing on the Japanese website.
I know.
Since like the second year.
Why didn't they ever bring it over here?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Very stupid.
Now, like, are they going to do something with the Switch too? Because like as far as we know, the Joy-Con 2s are just black with like colored discs.
Mecha Dragon says they got rid of the blown up Game Boy, the Gulf War Game Boy.
Yeah.
Is that confirmed to be at the museum?
I don't know.
I haven't heard about.
I don't know.
or
I know it's in their storage.
Confirmation
but,
that that the Gulf War Game Boy is okay.
Yeah.
Deltarune available on Switch 1 and 2 through cross-buy when it launches with new Nintendo console, but a Japanese law prevents them from doing this in Japan, where they will be charging for the upgrade. Why is there a law that prevents that? That
just sounds odd.
I want to see if I could find the law, but really, I think blah blah blah. Trying to find the exact law that it's breaking.
Toby Fox confirmed a release times for the game, with the Switch 2 version being available on June 5th at midnight local time in respective regions. That doesn't mean the Japanese players will have access to the game much earlier than the US. Fox shared a handful of trophies. This article does not say anything about the law.
Yeah, bad article.
Yeah,
Edward. I feel bad as a Nintendo fan thinking I'm waiting until Duskbloods is closer to launch to purchase one. Why? Don't
feel bad.
Don't feel bad about giving $1 billion corporation more money.
You know,
my OLED still is great along with Steam Deck for couch play.
Yeah, you shouldn't buy a system,
until there's a game on it that you want to play.
Yeah.
You don't need to be an early adopter.
Yeah.
In fact, you shouldn't be an early adopter.
There's so many benefits to just waiting.
Yeah. Being an early adopter is stupid. I have ads on all of these websites, and this is showing Zcams because I was looking at Zcams. I saw a shot from the new Mission Impossible movie where he jumps out of a plane.
And he's got the gimbal on him. Yeah.
Yeah. That I'm almost certain is this $1,000 Zcam. This one over here, which is like not like it's a cinema camera.
Yeah,
it's not like a movie it's like a prosumer camera.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, like those movies have been going more and more, like, because they used to all be shot on film, but now they go more and more digital because you can
imagine strapping an IMAX camera to you.
Well, that's the thing. So in Mission Impossible Fallout, the best Mission Impossible movie, do not at me, I will punch you in the face.
I've never seen I've seen the first one.
Oh, God damn it, Bob. I hate you and your movie choices so much. But in Fallout, they do the Halo jump. And so the guy Tom Cruise is jumping with has an IMAX camera strapped to his head, but it's a digital camera, so those can be smaller.
Okay.
And so because you can fit that in his head.
Then why would it? What's the significance of it being IMAX?
Just the resolution.
Is it the like?
It's the 70 millimeter.
The sensor is like
big. Yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
It's the shape of IMAX.
Yeah. It could fit the IMAX regulation like sizes.
I think that's just medium format. Because that's like more square medium format.
It's kind of gotten muddy because like there's different versions of IMAX. The full IMAX, like the Christopher Nolan IMAX, is like 70 millimeter shot on film, or like it's taller than it is wide. But now there's like a smaller version of IMAX that's still huge, but like is easier to film because more cameras can like shoot it. So I think that's what the Mission Impossible movies have been using.
Anyway, this camera is great.
This one right here,
$600.
Yeah.
Pretty good. This is what I bought this. I got it on Wednesday, and I brought it to PAX and just threw it right into the deep end, and it's been great. And it matches this $600 camera matches my $7,000 cinema camera. Pretty fucking good. Anyway. What did the New York City Nintendo store have that was cool? I haven't been to it. I mean, it's cool.
It is like it's cool.
It's mostly
it's a store.
It's a store,
like,
and they have cool Nintendo gaff, but that's it. It's like you get a shirt that says Nintendo New York, and it's got an exclusive Mario drawing.
Yeah,
like stuff like that.
Like it's not really
or
like
a mug that you wouldn't see anywhere else.
Yeah, like it's not really like a museum or like a celebration of like Nintendo or like
it was a little bit of a
museum
museum sometimes.
Yeah,
There was a time when they had Miyamoto's notebook drawings of Mario. But I think they moved that all to the Kyoto Museum.
Yeah.
So this was like the first place you could physically go to that had Nintendo stuff. Like it was the first like Nintendo owned place open to the public.
Yeah.
So it did have a little bit of a museum aspect and it had some cool stuff.
Mhm.
But now it doesn't. Now
Mhm.
it's kind of a boring store. Anyway, we've gone way over time.
We have.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for chatting with us. As always, the WULFF Den Podcast is every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/WULFDEN or youtube.com/WULFDEN If you can't make the show for any reason at all, we always put the archive version up over on youtube.com/WULFDEN so you can go check us out over there on demand whenever you want. But if you prefer to listen to us rather than watch us, you can do that as well because we're also an audio podcast on any and every podcast service such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Audible.com. The list goes on, but no matter where you get the show from, folks, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us because that helps us with placement on all those respective platforms.
Played a lot of cool games at PAX this weekend, and I have a video where I'm talking about all of them. And they're all, I think, like 70% of them have Steam demos that you can just download and play. So I'll have a video up on that on Thursday. I will also probably stream something on Thursday, but I don't know what yet. That is all I have. Bye, everybody. Bye. Go say hello to AJ.